So in today's season preview about the Boston Bruins, I'm going to be taking a look at their roster, getting some numbers on the team, and also giving a playoff prediction for them as well. And while there's been a lot of talk that the Boston Bruins' best years are behind them, I still think they look like a pretty strong team, but just how strong are they going to be? So let's get some numbers on them. The Bruins' power play last year was 21.9%. That was good for 10th in the NHL. Their penalty kill was 86%. That was good for second in the NHL. And I want to say this, the Boston Bruins always seem to have really strong penalty killing every year. I think that's a testament to Don Sweeney and even Peter Chiarelli before him, bringing in really strong defensive forwards and also having good defensive defensemen back there as well. They were 14th in goals for with 164, and they were 4th in goals against with 134. But they have been a team, even throughout their strongest years, to be known to rely on the power play, especially in the years from 2018 to 2021. So let's take a look at their lineup now. On the first line, I have Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak. No surprise there. That line, they're going to be what they are. I mean, it's a great line. Pasternak's one of the better players in the league right now. Brad Marchand, over the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years maybe now, he's been one of the better players in the league too. I never knew this guy could put up that many points. I always kind of thought of him as a rat who could get you maybe 20 goals, 45, 50 points, but he's really shown to be a big-time point producer. Patrice Bergeron, he's not getting any younger. He's still a very good player for Boston, though, but how much longer is he going to be that great player for Boston is the question. On the second line, I have Taylor Hall, Charlie Coyle, and Craig Smith. And the second line looks really different for Boston this year with no David Krejci. Had they been able to keep Krejci, I think that would have been big for them. To have him as that second line center behind Patrice Bergeron like he was for so many years. They had that two-headed monster, that double threat at center. Now they don't really have that. No offense to Charlie Coyle, he's a great player, but I don't know if I like him at the second line center position. But I do want to mention the Boston Bruins keeping Taylor Hall around and not losing him in free agency was huge for them. On the third line, I have Jake DeBrusk, Eric Holla, and Nick Foligno. Jake DeBrusk is an interesting guy because he had a pretty good first couple seasons in the league, and then his last couple have been pretty average, especially last season. And he's been rumored in a lot of trades too. But this has to be the year where Jake DeBrusk shows everyone that, yeah, I'm the guy. I'm going to be putting up a lot of points. I don't think he dethrones Taylor Hall at the second line left wing position, but if he can put up a good amount of points and be a really solid player and play well defensively and earn the trust of head coach Bruce Cassidy, I think DeBrusk will be doing himself a lot of favors going forward. I like that Boston brought in some center depth in adding Eric Holla. I like their bottom two centers. Patrice Bergeron is obviously pretty good at number one center too. I don't know how much longer he will be good though, like I said. But Charlie Coyle at the second line center, that's something I have a bit of a problem with. And Nick Foligno, the new addition they brought in, he's rugged, he's tough, he's a true Boston Bruin, and he can also chip in offensively a little bit as well. And while he's not going to be 30-goal Nick Foligno like he was 6 or 7 years ago, he's still going to be a very serviceable player for the Bruins. The fourth line, I have Trent Frederic, Curtis Lazar, and Chris Wagner. This line looks pretty different without Sean Corelli, but I do like Curtis Lazar as the fourth line center. Chris Wagner, great penalty kill. The guy works hard. Not a lot of offense there, but I think he has a little more offense, or at least he's been showing a little more offense maybe the last couple seasons or so. Curtis Lazar, he was a former first-round pick by the Ottawa Senators. Now he's a fourth-line center. So maybe he's a little bit better than your average fourth-line center as far as putting up points go. Trent Frederic, he's a mean, rugged dude. Again, much like Nick Foligno, a true Boston Bruin. Let's shift to defense now. On the first pairing, I have Matt Grzelcyk with Charlie McAvoy. On the second pairing, I have Mike Riley and Brandon Carlo. And on the third pairing, I have Derek Forbort and Connor Clifton. And amongst all Boston's changes this year, in goal is where they're going to look the most different. Linus Ullmark is set to be the starting goaltender for them. Tuukka Rask, he had surgery. He might come back. There's some talk anyways that he might come back midway through the season, maybe in January, on a cheap contract. He said, "I'm willing to be a cheap goalie for Boston." Those were his words. And either one of Jeremy Swayman or Kyle Kessler take that backup spot behind Linus Ullmark. Extras at forward, I have Jack Studnicka, Jacob Lauko, Carson Coleman, Thomas Nosek, Anton Bleed, and John Beecher. Extras on defense, I have Tyler Lewington, John Moore, and Eero Vakanainen. And I want to mention that Thomas Nosek would also be a great fourth-line center option for the Boston Bruins as well. I could see him and Curtis Lazar honestly sliding in and out of the lineup for each other. Nosek's also a great penalty killer too, so Boston would really like to have him in the lineup. And for Boston, the problem with them is they're not getting any younger. I know I've been saying this for a long time now. They do have some good young prospects coming in the system, which can kind of supplement for maybe the older guys tailing off in production. But those older guys are a big part of the team, and that's why a lot of people are saying the Boston Bruins' best years are behind them. And I tend to agree with that because the Boston Bruins, they went through a stretch from like 2008 to 2014 of being a true legitimate cup contender. They kind of fell back a little bit, missed the playoffs a couple years, and they weren't looked at as a legit contender anymore. Then they got back to being a legit contender in 2017-18, and they were that way for the last 3 to 4 years. Now, I don't really know if they're exactly a legit Stanley Cup contender. Playoff prediction for them, yes, I do think the Boston Bruins are a playoff team once again. I do think they can get fourth in that Atlantic Division. I look at them as more of a wild card team than a powerhouse, and that just goes to show how quickly a team can go from being really good to just kind of maybe mediocre, you would say. But the Bruins have been known to do some really good retooling on the fly. So maybe Don Sweeney finds a way to retool this team a little bit once again, like he did through 2014 to 2016 or 2017 even, and makes this team a true cup contender. But I don't know if that will happen because, you know, when they did it last time, Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, these guys were still a decent age. By the time they retool and have this team be a legit cup contender again, those guys that I mentioned will be a lot older and well past their prime at that point. So there it is, a season preview for the Boston Bruins. Please let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Also, please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.